For the first slide, which is History of Google. Google is an American search engine company founded in 1998 by Sergey Brin and Larry Page that is subsidiary of the holding company Alphabet Inc. Google reorganized itself in August 2015 to become a subsidiary of the holding company Alphabet Inc. Google began as an online search firm, but it now offers more than 50 internet services and products from email and online document creation to software for mobile phone and tablet computer. Next, the name Google is play on Google, which is a mathematical term for the number 1 followed by 100 zero. It is rumored that this reflects the founder's mission to organize the infinite amount of information on the internet. In 1998, Page launched a monthly newsletter called Google Friend Newsletter to inform fans about the company. This has since been replaced with blogs such as Google+. Google's first office was classically a friend's garage in Menlo Park, California. In 1999, Google moved from its humble garage to new digs at 165 University Avenue, Palo Alto. Moving on to the next slide, which is about Google. The first one is mission of the Google, which is to organize the world information and make it universally accessible and useful. The second one is the vision of Google, which is to provide access to the world information in one click. And the third one is the objective of Google, which is the first one is to protecting the user data. Every day, Google keep billions of people safer online. They protect their user with industry-leading security, responsible data practice, and also easy-to-use privacy control. The second objective is to expanding the opportunity. Google wants to be a company that make global investment in community, individual, and local economies to prepare them for the opportunities of today and tomorrow. The last objective of Google is including all voices. This is meant by building a world where progress, equitable outcome, diversity, and inclusion can be realities both inside and outside of their workplace. The third slide is about the core value of Google. The first one is focus on the user and all else will follow. This is meant by since the beginning, Google focused on providing the best user experience possible. Whether they are designing a new internet browser or a new tweak to the look of the homepage, they take a great care to ensure that they will ultimately serve their customer rather than their own internal goal or bottom line. Their homepage interface is clear and simple and page load instantly. Placement in search result is never sold to anyone, and advertising is not only clearly marked as such, it offers relevant content and is not distracting. The second core value is fast is better than slow, which is they know our time is valuable, so when we seeking an answer on the web, we want it right away, and their aim to please. They may be the only people in the world who can say their goal is to have people leave their website as quickly as possible. The third core value is you can make money without doing evil. Google is a business. The revenue that generates is derived from offering search technology to companies and from the sale of advertising display on their site and on other sites across the web. To ensure that Google ultimately serving all of their users, whether they are advertisers or not, they have set of guiding principles for their advertising program and practices, which is they don't allow ads to be displayed on their result page unless they are relevant where they are shown on Google. Believe that advertising can be effective without being flashy, as they don't accept pop-up advertising, which is interfere with user ability to see the content they have requested. And the last core value is great just is not good enough, which is they see being great at something as a starting point, not an end point. They set their goal as they know they can reach yet, because they know that by stretching to meet them, they can get further than user expected. Through innovation and iteration, they aim to take things that work well and improve upon them in unexpected ways. As we can see on this slide, is about case analysis purpose. Based on the case study, the things that we get is to analyze whether the restructure of Google will increase the profitability on company valuation. The second one is to identify whether the Alphabet can maintain Google's lead as an innovator. And the last one is to analyze can Google challenge their competitors in a wide array of industry.
Next, I will be explaining about the general environmental analysis. First is demographic segment. As for Google, the company wants to carefully study the patterns of population distributions in country and region to identify opportunities and threats. Google used segmentation technique to divide population of the target customer into groups on the basis of specific characteristics. For instance, Google considered its demographic segment on one of its projects called Sidewalk Lab. Google started the project in June 2015 that used technology and innovation to improve urban life. Second segment is socio-cultural segment. Google is aware of changes taking place in the society and their associated cultural value in which they are competing, including healthcare strategy, as attitude about and approaches to healthcare are being evaluated in nations and regions throughout the world. For Google, the company has entered into healthcare research by creating a new company called Calico in September 2013. The aim of the company is to make advancements in human health and well-being, in particular understanding the aging process and increasing the longevity of people. Lastly is the technological segment. Google continuously scans the general environment to identify potential substitutes for technologies that are in current use, as well as to identify newly emerging technologies from which their firm could derive competitive advantage. And one of the most hyped-up technologies developed by Google was Google Glass, a wearable computer which came with its own optical head-mounted display. This wearable computer performs many of the tasks traditionally performed by other portable gadgets like smartphones and tablets. On to industry analysis. First point is rivalry among competing firms. Google faces a strong force of competitive rivalry or competitions. Under Porter 5 forces model, competitive rivalry limits the growth of firms in the technology and online services industry. Google competitors span various industries, although those that have the most significant impact on the business involve internet services or related platforms. For example, the company competes against Yahoo, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon.com, Twitter, and Facebook. Second is threat of new entrants. The threat of new entrants moderately influence Google business. These new entrants include new venture or investment of less technology companies, as well as startup offering products similar to Google's. In Porter's 5 forces analysis model, the following external factors contribute to the moderate threat of new entrants against the technology business and its industry environment, including moderate cost of doing business, high cost of brand development, and firms' general capability to fulfill regulatory requirements. Third is bargaining power of suppliers. The bargaining power of Google supplier is low. This is because Google is not a hardware business like Apple. It is mainly a software business or a provider of key online service, including digital advertising, search service, and other online service. Most of the services provided are built in-house with the help of Google's developer and the advanced technology that Google already owns. Therefore, suppliers play a very limited role in the provision of the main product and service created by Google. Next is bargaining power of buyers. The bargaining power of individual buyers in the case of Google is very low. There are billions of users around the world that use Google's products and services. Its services like Gmail and Chrome enjoy the largest market share as compared to the rivals. In digital advertising too, the company enjoys the largest market share of all in the world. Apart from some large brands that spend a vast sum on advertising and are among the largest buyers of advertising services, the smaller business or buyer hold little to no bargaining power. Lastly is threat of substitute product. The threat of substitute product is moderate for Google. There are very few businesses that offer similar products and services, and apart from that, the quality of the product provided by Google is overall significantly better as compared to rivals. Google is a highly innovative technology brand, and therefore its product and service are not just of better quality, but generally more suitable in terms of usage. The threat of substitute product for Google mainly comes from the 4 big tech brands, including Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple.
Let's proceed with internal analysis, starting with strength. One of the strengths after Google's restructuring is having limited liability. Alphabet will not be responsible for the debts of its subsidiaries, and the subsidiaries will not be responsible for others. Any risky investment will not affect the holding company. Next, having an improved corporate transparency. Having an improved accountability and analysis would result greater lucidity for both cash flows and investment, where it would increase stakeholder value as they will be able to evaluate Alphabet financial result. Furthermore, restructuring will be able to improve and expand their outstanding acquisition skill. By purchasing 58 startups since 2016, they show greatest acquisition rates among its rivals. By acquiring other businesses, Alphabet could gain numerous aspects of goods, services, and knowledge that enables the company to expand quickly. Other than that, new restructuring encourage entrepreneurship within the firm to foster top talent and guard against talent loss. More capable senior executives will be promoted within the organization, preventing them from being stolen by company rivalry. Lastly, Alphabet showed dominance in variety of markets include web search, digital advertising, mobile operating systems, and browsers. One of the weaknesses after the restructuring is that they are unable to gain trust from the stakeholder due to previous structure where even after restructuring, they still do not disclose financial information regarding their risky investment. Next, they still have indecisive vision and mission which does not tally with the current ones after restructuring. Stakeholder is also unclear on how does this restructuring boosts Google's profitability and market value. In addition, the restructure does not produce a strong actionable corporate plan for the entire company. After Google restructured and changed their priority, they have encountered a major lack of leadership management where top executives left the company such as Nest, Google Fiber, Verily, and others. Other than that, prioritizing innovation over revenues where they worried Alphabet's prudent financial management and keen attention would stifle technology innovation. This would create an unhealthy competition among subsidiaries within Alphabet when they have different cultures in achieving mission or objectives. Lastly, a system implemented by Google became a problem after Google grew bigger. The management discussing and debate for long hours, which makes the team waited and stalled all kinds of processes that needed management's approval. Such long hours discussion also resulted with no decision at all. I will proceed with the Internal Factor Evaluation IFE matrix, which can be seen on this table. Each key factors of strength and weaknesses have been listed along with their weight, rating, and weighted score. Weight and rating indicator are listed next to the table. Based on our analysis, the weighted score is 3.73, which is above average weighted score of 2.5. It shows that the Alphabet Incorporated has strong internal position.
Next is the external analysis that comprise opportunities and threats for Alphabet Incorporation. First and foremost, the opportunities that Alphabet Incorporation gain is that they can gather human talents and technologies to build a new business model. According to the case study, Alphabet was the second most valuable company in the world, leaving Microsoft Corporation behind and not so far from their rival, the Apple Incorporation. This could give a challenge to other companies like mentioned earlier. Secondly, Alphabet Incorporation has made an investment on cloud-based computing services and considered as they are one of the biggest opportunity towards the company. Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, said that cloud will be one of the largest areas of investment and growth for Google in 2017. Companies such as PayPal, Twitter, Spotify, and more has been using this. Therefore, it is not surprised for Google Cloud Platform to be as one of the most profit-making opportunity for the company. Next, by enhancing non-advertising revenues, Alphabet Incorporation may increase the bigger opportunities in this industry. Non-advertising revenues business models such as Google Cloud, Google Play, YouTube TV subscription, and hardware products such as Nest, Pixel phones, and Fitbit could eventually increase the profitability of the company. Following with this point, Alphabet Incorporation had also established the most eye-catching opportunities that Google's own is the wearable market. In early November 2019, Google has officially acquired Fitbit for around $2.1 billion in cash. One of the most important reasons is because the company wanted to have a stronger connection in the wearable technologies. Lastly, the opportunities that is beneficial for the Alphabet Incorporation is that it could broaden their services to develop markets. In accordance with the research conducted, Google has extended their cloud services to promote the world's first commercial high-speed internet in Kenya by using balloons to cater an affordable 4G internet to rural communities in East Africa. However, Alphabet Incorporation will be threatened by a number of competitors as the competition between these applications are increasing every day. This tough competition between Google, specifically for YouTube, and Google Cloud will be defeated as Facebook and Amazon could conquer the online advertising market. Nowadays, millions of people have been using Facebook to promote and advertise their product and business to the worldwide. Secondly, without Alphabet Incorporation realized, the new information could raise an unhealthy competition among themselves whenever a new innovation strikes in the organization. This is because when a new development happens, the organization would increase the incentive for every unit of business to compete within the organization. It could also remove the possibility of the allocation of employees in a given decision to participate in new ventures. Next, according to the case studies, CFO of Alphabet and Google stated that the company is about to shut down several projects that cost a great amount of money, which also has incurred loss to the company. It requires a lot of investment to conduct the projects. For example, the company had sold a project of Boston Dynamic Robotics for sale as it could not give profit to the company, as well as Google Fiber planned to cut their high-speed internet service plans in 11 US cities and seized about 9% of their employees. This has caused the company to encounter such an uncommon constraint to align the cost and revenue altogether. Due to limitation on the new Alphabet Incorporation operating structure, it has increased a great pressure to Nest to perform and provide a profitable results as a standalone unit. The new development by Alphabet had made several leaders to leave the company, especially the founder of Nest itself, namely Tony Fadell, who quit the company in June 2016, as he believed that every business in Alphabet have to depend on Google to go further in this industry. Another threat that the company is facing is the declination in the market shares from the competition between Google and Facebook. Google ad revenue has been decreasing each year in the market shares. One of the reasons is because coronavirus pandemic that affected the whole world. Hence, the Google ad search travel has been increasing every single day. This is the external factor evaluation metric EFA that have been finalized for opportunities and threats. As you can see, the weighted score is mounted to 2.52, which is above average of 2.5, which is considered the company is doing good in the business.
Firms need to analyze each of their primary competitors. This analysis should identify competitors' current strategies, strategic intent, mission, capabilities, core competencies, and a competitive response profile. This information is useful to the focal firm in formulating an appropriate strategy and in predicting competitors' probable responses. As what we have analyzed on Google, we came out with two other competitors to be compared with Google, which are Yahoo and Bing. We have listed down 5 critical success factors, which are product portfolio, market price, awards and achievement, technology and innovation, and also customer satisfaction. To read the competitive profile matrix CPM, 0.0 is known as less important factor and 1.0 is the most important factor. For the rating, is it assigned to each factor, which the major strength is 4 and 1 is the major weaknesses. To get the total score of each factor, the weight of the factor should be multiplied with the rating given in order to compare the performance of each firm or company. Based on our analysis, Google has the highest total weightage score, which is 3.40, and Bing has the lowest total weightage score, which is 1.10. From here, we can see that Google's performance according to competitive profile matrix CPM is at the highest level, which the gap between two other competitors is quite big. This concludes that Google is still relevant in the market, hence becoming the top most technology used by the users. So these are the SWOT metrics that we had analyzed on Google. For the strength, Google has a limited liability. They also improve in corporate transparency, improve and expand their acquisition skill. They encourage entrepreneurship within the firm to foster top talent and guard against talent loss. And they dominate in a variety of markets. For the weaknesses, they are unable to gain trust from the stakeholder, they indecisive visions and missions, major lack of leadership management, they prioritize innovation over revenues, and the system that Google implemented turned into a problem. For the opportunity, they can gather human talents and technologies to build new business model. They can invest on cloud-based computing. They can enhance non-advertising revenues. They can establish wearable markets and also broaden services to develop market. And for the threat, they are facing tough competition from rivals, unhealthy competition within Alphabet Incorporation, and shut down projects that incur loss. They also pressure to perform due to limitation in operations and also declination in market shares.